Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. I have a sore throat, so let's use a robot voice. Hopefully it's not too weird, and please no essays in the comments. I can't fix the problem that you see, take it to Reddit. Hey everybody, we got the monthly pass in Nier Reincarnation, the game is saved, hallelujah. I'm being sarcastic of course. If anything, this offering hurt the game because expectations were raised unreasonably. It turned out to not live up to the hype, and now we have a bunch of unhappy commenters on Reddit and YouTube. I hear it being called a win. It's closer to an unforced error, both on the developer's side and on the side of the folks creating the hype, and that's why I don't do that without knowing the details. It's too risky, but whatever, live and learn hopefully. But let's get on with the true topic here. I want to talk about what I see are the two reasons why the developers would do this and do it this way, and revenue is not one of them. Let's talk about the content of the pack itself. It's weird because the majority of the materials do not appeal at all to endgame players like me. It is more attractive to players ranging from beginner to intermediate, maybe folks up to 250k force. Then there is what some people are calling a generic awakening stone, but it is not a generic awakening stone. It's closer to a select a unit exchange, except we can't get a costume we didn't have before, and we don't get the weapon. A true generic awakening stone would be something we would use in lieu of an actual awakening stone, and it would be something we could hang on to and save up and use on anyone at any time immediately. Not to say that the exchange coin is without value, it definitely has value and some players can benefit from getting it. If you compare the money cost of doing the pass for a month versus doing 150 or 200 pulls to go the ceiling for the shard exchange, it's definitely cheaper. And that's how a lot of JP users I see on Twitter are taking it. It's a cheaper alternative to doing the shard exchange, hooray. But it is limited to once per costume seemingly forever, so that makes the exchange coin less powerful and the pass less desirable. By less powerful I mean that, again, it can't get costumes you don't have, and it's really only good for costumes already at Awakening 2, 3, or 4, and then that is situational too. The Mama exchange medal is much more powerful, and so we have a pass where the majority of materials only appeal to newer players while the exchange coin appeals most to spenders with limited units already fairly awakened. It's an awkward mix that makes one wonder why. So what are the two reasons why the developers did this and did it this way? First of all, it's not for revenue. 17 USD once a month is not going to do jack. Reason 1 is to increase user engagement, and reason 2 is to get users to shut up about generic awakening stones, and it's that second reason about which I feel insulted. There are two metrics that publishers look at post-release to determine if they let a game keep running or shut it down: revenue of course, but also user engagement. I talked about this a couple years ago in my Why Is There So Much Auto Battle video. I'll link to that below. User engagement by itself won't save a game, it still takes money, but if revenue is missing its marks while engagement looks good, that can extend the life of the game. Not guaranteed, but it can help. And on the global side of a Japanese game where it is just a foregone conclusion that sales numbers are going to be lower than JP sales because the business model targets and works nearly exclusively on the Japanese psyche, on the global side engagement is that much more important. Again, my belief is that global and JP will shut down at the same time no matter what happens, so we don't have to worry about global performance, but I look at all the disappointment about the premium pass. Some comments even saying they will quit the game over it, and I'm like, come on, unforced error, we don't need this. Now you might be thinking, but Cabbage, you talk about shutdowns, that drives away players, we don't need that either, but my message in that talk, which people seem to ignore, is the truth that mobile games are ethereal things. They are experiences, not products, so we must enjoy them now while we can. I hope that my talk about shutdowns highlights the window of opportunity that exists and inspires more people to stick with the game or join the game. People call my talk negative, but I think it's neutral or positive. It's like people are saying, oh well, life ends anyway, might as well commit suicide. No, there is so much to see and do before we die, take advantage. Anyway, user engagement is important on the global side in this pass. let's not be naive about it, gets the company the metrics it wants by making buyers log in more and play more to get all the rewards. And that's why the low price doesn't matter, it's not about revenue. The second reason why is to shut up users over the generic awakening stones. I saw how they implemented this, and my immediate reaction was, oh, they really don't want to do generic awakening stones. I get it, I totally get it, because it is their main source of income. Getting whales to pull multiple copies of a unit to awaken them. This exchange coin kind of looks like a generic awakening stone if you squint, and it's the developers hoping that users are tricked by this and satisfied by this, but I am not fooled, I am not satisfied, I still want true generic awakening stones. But at the same time I would understand if they never implemented them, because if they did, it would seriously cut it to their bottom line and they would have to think of a whole new way to get folks to pull the hatcher. It always comes back to the hatcher because that is what the Japanese love. But this semi-trickery with the not quite generic awakening stone, I can see through that, don't insult my intelligence. But in the big picture, unawakened costumes are still powerful enough to do everything in the game, so I'm not very bothered. I'll end with my personal policy as a content creator advising others on their spending, and my policy has been consistent for like 5 years now. I encourage folks to spend what they can afford, don't spend more than that, please, but if you can't afford it and want to go free to play, cool. 17 USD means something different to different people, and for a lot of folks, that's too much. Now typically I would say that going free to play in a mobile game would mean adjusting your expectations down about the game experience, but Nier Reincarnation is still so free to play friendly. Heck, I got 11 in the hyper competitive arena showdown. That paying is really a luxury thing that most players won't need to engage in. And again, I feel that the game is operating on a schedule outside of revenue concerns, so no one should feel bad about not spending. But if you do spend, thank you, you are supporting the game and supporting all of us, even if the game doesn't ultimately care about lasting forever. Any money we spend will go back into the game, and that's why the story parts of the sun and the moon were so much more grand and intricate than the story parts of the girl and the monster. The developers aren't buying Lamborghinis with our money, they are putting it back into the game, and that is something I can guarantee. So don't feel bad about not spending, but also be aware that we'll have to sacrifice some things like English voice acting. To the person saying I didn't need to make this video, how did you like that? Wasn't what you were expecting? That's because I am not your average YouTuber, don't think you can predict what I am going to say. Thanks for watching, take care.